Alright, well it finally happened. We finally got through those toys. We finally got to put this man thing together, and he's glorious. He's an amazing toy. This dude, he's definitely going to be in my top 10 list for 2017. This thing is awesome. If I had to buy all these toys just to build him and throw those toys, it'd be worth it. Because this thing is amazing. So when I saw on Instagram or here or there, when all you guys was hoping that Kingpin was going to be the Build-A-Figure, and then it turned out to be Man-Thing, and you guys were let down, well, yeah, we already have a Man-Thing, but guess what? You guys out there that are screaming for a Kingpin, you could have 2 of them by tomorrow. All you got to do is get your lazy ass on eBay and bid on one and pick it up. They got a white one and a black one. So you can easily have a Kingpin tomorrow, so stop screaming for them to remake toys that they've already made. Like if you want your collection to be full, just spend a little time, spend a little money, pick up a Kingpin. But until then, let's enjoy this. Alright, so here's this Man-Thing standing just a little under 8 inches in all of his glory. And what an amazing toy this is. Like, it's hard to believe that Marvel Legends did something like this. Like, 100% new sculpt for a Build-A-Figure, and it's Man-Thing. Like, come on, I know we already got one, but this thing is unreal. So last year at San Diego Comic-Con, I mean every year, but last year I was sitting there fucking with Dwight, and he goes, well, what figures would you like to see? And I go, well, there's a bunch. Like, I'd like you finish the Inhuman set. I'd like you finish the Alpha Flight set. I'd like you to maybe make an A-Bomb. And that big grizzly bear guy, I forget his name, but that would be a cool one to have. And I said, you know what, I know we already got a Man-Thing, but I'd love to get another Man-Thing. He's like my favorite figure of all, or at least for Marvel. And Dwight had this shit-eating grin on his face, and I knew it was coming. I just didn't know it was going to be this good. Let's go over this whole wave. First off, we have Elektra. I mean, she's a Netflix character. She's kind of a new figure in your collection. Lots of reused parts. She's pretty good. I think she's a must-have. Then you have the Netflix Punisher. Also, a pretty good figure. Kind of a new character. Need to pick him up. Then you have Daredevil. Man, that's a good toy. Like, he's almost as good as this Man-Thing. They really killed it on that one. Then you got Bullseye, and I was like, well, I already got some Bullseye. Then you get him out, and you start fucking with him, and you're like, yeah, that's good. Needed that. Jessica Jones was a must. I was actually really excited to get a Jessica Jones. And we finally got a Blade. It's not the Blade that I wanted. I actually like the old Blade better than this Blade, but this is probably the only comic book Blade we'll ever get. I really wanted that one with the trench coat and the open mouth with the fangs. Didn't happen. I'm sure it's in somebody's collection, just not this one. Either way, my overall thoughts on this set, I was more excited like when I didn't have it than when I do have it. Like, it is exciting mostly because of Man-Thing. But it's like the Elektra, it's a good toy, but it's lots of reused. Punisher, screw it. It's a pretty good set. Here he is. I love the red eyes. I love his little snorkel things. Like, look at all the sculpt work on this thing. Like, because I was thinking that this was just going to be like some sloppy, weird, reuse it for Sasquatch. It's not. Like, there's no way you're going to turn this moss and the sleeves and these mushrooms into like a Sasquatch or a Yeti or whoever they're going to try to reuse them for. So this toy, it's weird. It has like this weird rubber skin over it. Maybe this is a new thing. Like, maybe they can just use like the same body and start throwing these skins over them, which I think that's really cool, and it's a really good idea. Maybe they could start doing skin over the whole figure, and then you won't see any articulation. That would be huge for action figures. Like, they did that old Swamp Thing for DC. Mattel did it, and they did the skin over the joints. I mean, it definitely limits articulation, but it is really a good toy, and I definitely love it. The articulation on this, his head is on a ball. You get a little movement, not a lot of movement, and then I love how it's like hunched over, like, so it's kind of like you see it and it's like his shoulders are like almost as high as his head, like that. Really looks nice. You got a ball on the shoulder. I love that. Then you got the bicep swivel here. I think they did a pretty good job there. Single elbow. Now look into here. So inside of the joint, they sculpted it on that side. On this side, they didn't. It's smooth, but whatever. I'm not gonna pick this thing apart just because it's Man-Thing, and he definitely deserves a pass on everything. I love how they have the little leaves here. And then like the fur comes down, really well done. The hands are, God, those are sculpted good. Same articulation on the hand. The ab crunch has that like little click thing. It also turns at the waist. I don't really want to mess with either one of those because he looks perfect when he's standing up tall. Got this like little like swamp like cloth over. Now look how good this thigh joint comes together, because that's like one of my pet peeves about action figure, is when the joints are sloppy, and that thing looks amazing. It has the thigh cut. I kind of wish that he didn't, because I want all these lines to line up perfect, and that line just kind of takes away from the toy, at least for me. A double knee, which looks really good, and it works really good. They didn't like texture any of this, but I'm not going to pick that apart just because it's Man-Thing. I mean, who cares? We got one. And then the ankle, it does have a hinge on it. It does have a little bit of rocker in it. Of course, it's got like this moss shit around it, so you're only going to get so much. The feet, really nice. They painted the nails. Like, there's tons of paint on this. Like, look at all the shading on this thing. I got one question. This thing is weird. There's this hole right here on his back. What was supposed to go in the hole? If anybody knows what was supposed to go in the hole, so we were at Comic-Con hanging out in the Hasbro booth like we always do every year. And every year I'm sitting there busting Dwight's balls. It used to be Jesse, but now that turned into Dwight. And I'm saying, you know, thank you for making another Man-Thing. I love the one that I have, but I really love the new one. And I said, you killed it on the sculpt, but you took the time to sculpt these mushrooms and these sticks and all these other little cool things on here, but then you didn't have the money to paint it. And so my boy Broccoli, over years of conversation, he goes, oh dude, I could dial that thing in for you in like an hour, no problem. He paints models for a living, so if you do need a model painted, hit him up on Facebook. His name's Steve Sarajoli. And you remember that weird little hole on his back? So he had a little mushroom. I don't know if he dremelled it down or whatever, and he stuck the mushroom inside that hole, so now that hole has a purpose. So he only took about an hour to tune this thing up, and it looks like he took a week on it. So here he is. Looks great. I mean, he's a perfect Man-Thing. I'll do some comparison pictures so you can kind of see what he looked like before, and you see what he looks like now. So like always, thanks for watching, and Broccoli, thanks for taking me.